Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into a topic today that's been all over the news, all over, honestly, pretty much every industry. Generative AI.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic and moving so fast that it's kind of hard to even keep up with it all.
It really is. And, frankly, it's a little intimidating even for those of us who follow it closely. But let's start, back up a bit and define what we're even talking about here. We have this paper, 11 Generative AI.
Yeah.
And they define it as a subset of artificial intelligence that generates new data based on learned patterns from existing data sets. I mean, does that make sense? Did I even say that right?
You said it perfectly. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good definition to start with.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, if we think about traditional AI, like, the stuff that we've been talking about for years, that's been really good at, analyzing data, finding patterns, all that stuff.
Right, like making predictions based on existing data.
Exactly. So how is that different from generative AI?
Well, with generative AI, instead of just analyzing existing data, you're actually creating new content based on what the AI has learned.
So instead of just like telling me what's in a picture, it could create like a whole new picture.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine like giving it a bunch of photos of cats and then it can, generate a completely new picture of a cat that's never existed before.
Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, so it can create pictures. But it's not just pictures, right? What else can it do?
I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless, it seems like. We're talking music composition, writing articles and stories, designing products, even coding software.
So like some of those ads that I'm seeing online might not even be made by humans anymore, like they're made by AI.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. A lot of companies are already using generative AI for marketing and advertising. Everything from generating product descriptions to even creating entire ad campaigns.
So like, I could feed an AI a bunch of my previous ads and it would just like spit out a new one.
Yeah, pretty much. You could give it some guidelines, like the target audience or the message you want to convey. And the AI could come up with a bunch of different options for you to choose from.
Wow. That's kind of amazing and also kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. It's such a powerful technology that it has the potential to really disrupt a lot of industries.
No kidding. Okay, so we've talked about marketing. What about other industries like healthcare? I've heard some buzz about AI being used there.
Yeah, there's a ton of potential for generative AI in healthcare. Like imagine an AI that could analyze your individual genetic makeup and your medical history and stuff, and then like develop a custom treatment plan just for you.
So like instead of getting, whatever the standard treatment is, you get something tailored to it, like literally just for you.
Exactly. It's called personalized medicine, and it's one of the areas where generative AI could really revolutionize things.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. So instead of like a one-size-fits-all approach, with medicine, you get something designed specifically for your, your body and your genes and stuff.
Right. And that's just one example. Researchers are even using generative AI to design new drugs and therapies.
Okay, so we're talking like literally curing diseases with AI.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
Wow. But I mean, I have to admit, this is a little intimidating, to be honest. It's moving so fast.
I get it. It can feel like it's getting away from us, all this new tech. It's a lot.
Yeah. Like, what happens to people's jobs if AI can do so much?
That's the big question, right? What happens to all of us when AI can do, like, basically everything?
Yeah, like, is it just gonna take over?
It's a real concern.
Yeah.
Especially for jobs that are, repetitive or involve a lot of data analysis.
So, like, if my job is to write, write product descriptions all day, I'm probably out of a job.
It's possible, yeah. Those kinds of tasks are pretty easy for AI to automate.
Okay, so that's not good. But is it all doom and gloom? I mean, there must be some good things about this, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, some jobs might be lost, but we're also going to see a ton of new jobs created in this whole new field of, AI development and management.
Okay, so it's not just about AI taking over, but it's also about humans and AI, like, working together.
Exactly. Like, think about a doctor who can use AI as a tool to analyze patient data, like, way more efficiently than they ever could before.
So instead of replacing the doctor, it just makes them better at their job.
Right. And there are a ton of other examples like that. Musicians using AI to help compose music, architects using it to design buildings, the list goes on and on.
So it's all about how we use it, right? Like it's a tool and it can be used for good or bad.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. The technology itself is neutral. It's up to us to decide how we want to use it.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about marketing, healthcare. What other industries are being impacted by this? What else is there?
Oh man, where do we even begin? Education is a big one. Imagine personalized learning platforms powered by AI, where every student gets a curriculum tailored to their specific needs and learning style.
That's amazing. So like if I'm a student who, struggles in traditional classrooms, this could be a total game changer.
Exactly. And it could make education more accessible to people all over the world.
That's incredible. What about like architecture and engineering? Can AI be used in those fields?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, architects are already using it to, design innovative buildings, and engineers are using it to optimize complex structures and systems.
So is there like anything that AI can't do?
It really seems like the possibilities are endless. Like even in the gaming industry, AI is being used to create these incredibly realistic virtual worlds.
So basically every industry imaginable.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's hard to think of one that isn't being touched by AI in some way.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. I mean, we're literally living in the future.
We are. And it's just getting started. And it's not even just about practical stuff like we've been talking about.
Right.
I mean, generative AI is really raising some really big questions about, what does it even mean to be creative?
Yeah, like if an AI can write a symphony or design a building, what does that mean for, human artists and architects and all that?
Right, exactly. I mean, is it still art if a machine made it? Where's that line? It really makes you kind of rethink things.
It's true. I mean, it's kind of like, when photography first came out, right?
Yeah.
Like, when digital cameras came out and film photographers were like, oh, this is going to ruin everything.
Totally. It changes the whole game.
And now it's like, everybody has a camera in their pocket and nobody really thinks twice about it.
Right. And some of the most incredible art is being made with digital tools.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's not about, AI versus humans, but more about how we can use AI to make even better art or even better architecture or whatever.
Exactly. It's about collaboration, not competition.
Yeah, collaboration. I like that.
And it's not even just, art and design and things like that. I mean, generative AI has the potential to revolutionize scientific discovery too.
Really? How so?
Well, imagine scientists being able to use AI to analyze massive data sets way faster and more efficiently than they ever could on their own.
So like in astronomy or genomics, right?
Exactly. Finding patterns and insights that humans would just never be able to see.
It's like having an AI research assistant, working alongside scientists,
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not even just, about analyzing data either.
Okay.
Generative AI can actually be used to, develop new hypotheses and even design experiments.
Wow. Okay, so this is getting pretty intense. I mean, we've been talking a lot about all this amazing potential for generative AI, but
yeah.
I mean, come on, there's got to be some downsides, right?
Oh, there are definitely some potential downsides. With any powerful technology, there's always the risk of misuse.
What kind of misuse are we talking about?
Well, for example, generative AI could be used to create these super realistic fake news articles or videos, to try to manipulate people or spread misinformation.
That is a scary thought. And I guess that ties into the whole, deepfakes thing that we've all been hearing about.
Exactly. Deepfakes are a prime example of how this technology can be used for, not so good purposes.
Yeah. Okay, so deepfakes. What else? What other bad stuff?
Well, I mean, it's not just, limited to fake news and stuff.
Huh.
Generative AI could also be used for all sorts of malicious activities like creating spam or phishing attacks.
Oh, so it can be used for scamming people too.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, like I said, it's a powerful tool, and any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
So it really comes down to the people who are using it.
Exactly. It all comes down to intent.
Okay, so misuse, that's one big concern. What else is there?
Well, another big concern is, jobs being displaced, like we talked about earlier.
All right, the whole robots are going to take our jobs thing.
Exactly. And I know we touched on it before, but I think it's really important to dig a little deeper into this.
Okay, so let's dig in. What can be done about this? How do we prevent, mass unemployment?
Well, for one thing, we need to start investing in education and training programs to, help people learn new skills that are going to be in demand in this new AI-powered world.
So like retraining programs for people who might lose their jobs because of AI.
Yeah, exactly. And we also need to think about ways to, support those people who were displaced, like, maybe some kind of safety net or something.
Right, because, it's not their fault that the robots are taking their jobs.
Right, exactly. And I think we also need to start having some serious conversations about the societal impact of all this.
What do you mean?
Well, like, if machines are doing most of the work, how does that affect our economy? How does that affect our sense of purpose,
Yeah, those are some pretty deep questions.
They are, and they're not easy to answer, but I think they're questions that we need to start grappling with now, before it's too late.
So we need to be proactive, not reactive.
Absolutely. We need to be shaping the future of AI, not just letting it shape us.
And that's not just up to, the tech companies or the government.
No, this is something that affects all of us.
So we all need to be involved in this conversation.
Exactly. And the more informed we are, the better decisions we'll be able to make.
So it's all about education and awareness.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
And I know this is a lot to, process and think about.
It is.
But it's important stuff.
It really is.
I mean, this is the future we're talking about.
Exactly. The future is now.
It's a lot to think about, all this whole AI thing.
It really is. There are so many different angles to consider.
I mean, we've talked about, how it works, all the different ways it's being used, healthcare, marketing, education, even the arts.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
And we've talked about some of the big picture stuff too, jobs being displaced, the potential for misuse, all that.
The ethical considerations, for sure.
Exactly. It's a lot to take in. And I imagine some people listening are probably a little overwhelmed by it all.
It's understandable. It can be a bit much, all this new technology and the rapid pace of change.
It can. So what do we do? I mean, where do we even go from here?
Well, I think the first step is just, don't panic.
Easier said than done.
I know. But seriously, the more we understand about this technology, the better equipped we'll be to deal with it.
So what, read more articles, listen to more podcasts, become experts on AI.
Well, I mean, you don't have to become an expert overnight, but, just staying informed is huge.
Yeah. Okay, stay informed. So, read stuff, listen to stuff, what else?
And, talk about it. Have conversations with your friends, your family, your coworkers, share what you're learning.
So it's not just about learning ourselves, but spreading awareness,
Exactly. The more people who understand this stuff, the better.
Because ultimately, I mean, this is going to impact all of us, right? I mean, it's not just a tech industry thing, it's a society thing.
Right. It's about all of us figuring out how we want to live in this new world that we're creating.
So are there any, specific things that people can do, to kind of get involved in this, this whole AI conversation?
Sure. I mean, there are a lot of organizations out there that are doing really great work in this space.
Okay.
Groups that are focused on, developing ethical guidelines for AI, or groups that are, working to educate the public about the potential risks and benefits.
So do your research, find some groups that you align with and support them.
Yeah, exactly. And, don't be afraid to reach out to your elected officials and let them know that this is something you care about.
Right. Make your voice heard.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, I mean, this is about our future, right?
It is. It's about shaping the world that we want to live in, for ourselves and for future generations.
And that's something we can all be a part of.
It is. It's not just up to the, the tech giants or the governments of the world.
It's up to all of us.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great place to leave it for today.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
And I know this is a lot to digest.
It is.
But hopefully, this has given everyone, some food for thought and, maybe even inspired some of you to, go out and learn more and get involved.
Absolutely. The more we all know about this stuff, the better.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep those conversations going.
Yeah, keep talking about it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of generative AI.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.